welcome to Survivor with Jamie, Jack, and Colleen. My name is Colleen.
I'm Jamie.
And Romeo thinks I'm 100 years old.
Welcome to the show, everyone. We are here to talk about Survivor Season 2, episode number 9, Game of Chicken.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
I mean, I love Jay's opening song, but most shows have cut the theme songs like to a few seconds, right?
That's true.
Yeah, but at least this way, it's an easy 30 seconds. You just hit skip.
Oh, okay. It's Jay's song. Skip ahead.
It's Jay's song. Skip ahead. Jay was prepared to step in for you tonight if you couldn't make it, Jack.
I was about ready to give up. I almost gave up. I was getting so frustrated. If you don't know, I missed the first 15 minutes. I saw like a little bit of the challenge, and I saw Roxroy talk to somebody, and that was it. Maybe it was like a split. I go, what are they talking about? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, most of the game happened in the second half. So
yeah, I did see Hai and Romeo, because Hai wanted to know who voted for him.
Yes, they don't like each other.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out.
I'm finding Romeo doesn't like anybody. He wants to kick everybody in the face. I mean, it's just.
Yes. What'd he say? Everybody is stupid or something like that?
Everyone's dumb. Dummy dums.
And I want to kick them all in the face.
Zach and Alex were watching at that point. Alex went to bed midway like he always does, but he was like, he said the word dumb.
He did many times.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, he did.
He was
very protective, you. Anyway, there's both a lot to talk about this episode and kind of not a lot. I guess we could just start with the strategic decision about voting out Roxroy. Do we agree with that? I mean, I guess he was somewhat driving everybody crazy. I loved that Hai, was it Hai? Yeah, who called it out as the misogyny club.
Well, it's Omar is the ringleader.
Yeah,
he gets what he wants.
I have nothing but mad respect for Omar's game. It's so under the radar, though, that I'm concerned that he's just not going to win as a result, because
maybe not, but like I said, he's running the game. He's in charge.
Well, we had a moment where we got to see Chanel and Roxroy talking about, Hai did this. No, it wasn't Hai and Romeo. This was Omar. So
yeah, but Omar does it he's so good at what he does.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, he just no blood on his hands. He just walks away, and I mean, he could if he makes it final 3, he's got a great. I mean, he'll say, "No, that was me. I was me. I was me." And who can? That's right. He did tell me that. He's pulling the strings. He's the puppet master.
Yep.
And right now, I got to root for him because, again, you have to anyone that can pull the strings like that and not get any blood on their hand. I mean, his name doesn't even come up.
No, it doesn't at all. And because he's friendly, and so his social game is fantastic at this point. Nobody's really viewing him as a threat as of yet.
Right. He comes across as unassuming and disarming, and just overall like, very calm. Like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Just trust me. Don't worry about it.
Plus, that's what he doesn't go.
And it's not
you need to vote this way. He goes, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And he doesn't do it in like used car salesman way that like Tony was like, yo, trust me.
Right.
Just don't worry about it. I got you covered. Like, it wasn't anything like that.
Another fun note about Omar too is he's actually responsible for renaming like the new name of the tribe. We kind of touched on that last week, but it was him. So it means something like the bird. I think it is like some type of bird that's there. Of course, he knew what that was because he's a vet for exotic animals.
Oh, that's right.
And then they decided it was cooler if it was said twice.
I going back to Roxroy, I would have voted off Romeo. That would have been my vote. When they started talking Roxroy, I go, really? Why at this point?
I feel like Romeo is sneakier, and they have to see that, right? Like Roxroy is he just seems to be coming across so strongly and rubbing people the wrong way anyway. That this is how this is how the Romeos of the world slip through to get to the final three. Is they were the target, they gently point out, or they hide behind somebody else. They're like, oh, look at this person, like he's big and dumb and gonna get all the glory from you, and doesn't he drive you crazy? And all of a sudden somebody else is like, yeah, that's a great idea, we can take Romeo out at any point. And it's like, but he's driving everybody else nuts, so he can just anybody else will take him out.
And plus, and if they wouldn't have split the tribe up into these two different groups, I don't think Roxroy would have even come. I don't think he would have had a vote tonight.
No. Right. It'd have been a clean sweep, I think, for Romeo. I think him or Tori. I just think that's the way it would have gone. But like I said, I was shocked when because I thought there's no way Mike was going to vote for him.
Yeah.
And I think you could tell on Mike's face that it pained him. He did not want to vote, but he, like I said, Hai and him are like this, and he had I think he felt he had no choice. He didn't want to mess up his alliance, but it hurt him to vote that way.
And he made great points. There was nothing wishy-washy about what he was expressing as a concern. He made the same points that we would bring up in a conversation about the game. Do you want to go forward to the rest of your alliance looking like someone who would turn on your own alliance?
Right. He was right. I think that Hai should have listened to Mike.
Yeah, I'm not 100. I'm not 100% against it going the other way. I'm kind of sitting right in the middle. There's definitely some good things about their choice, but some bad moves too.
Yeah. I think Omar, but he's so good at what he's doing. I mean, Mike just had no choice but to vote that way.
I'm telling you, it's the emu eyes. That shirt. It's got all the power in the game. It is the winner. It's the sole survivor.
Yeah.
The shirt, the emu.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that Roxroy was the right choice, but we're seeing a different side of Ty that everybody else isn't seeing, right? So who knows?
I think when Omar said, he goes, "Oh, Roxroy came up to me and said, oh, he hasn't talked to me at all."
Right.
I think Roxroy was when they decided to do, when Mike, Jonathan, and Roxroy decided, hey, let's have an all guy alliance. Roxroy was the wrong person to go talk to all those people, because he's not his social game hasn't been that great. He rubs people the wrong way.
And you can't go and make an all-inclusive alliance and leave out one of the guys.
Right. Exactly.
That's not going to work out.
It was I don't know. It just it was a mess. Again, I thought it was when I first saw, I go, okay, slam dunk. I go, because that's why I asked you who won the immunity.
Yeah.
I text calling because I didn't know. I said, okay, it's a slam dunk. It's Romeo and Tori. Those are the two people. This is a no-brainer. Those two, and I know it's Survivor, and you always have the twists and turn, but I thought it was, because even when Jonathan, and I thought this was probably Jonathan's worst night of Survivor so far, because he just wasn't listening to Lindsay, especially. He just was not, and she's like going, and when she said, okay, what if they both play their idol? Or what if she plays her idol? Then Marianne will go home and he goes,
that's
I didn't think that far ahead. and I never understood why they threw Marianne's name out there. Just say, hey, we're voting, because Lindsay was trying to tell her, hey, we're voting. They don't get along. Lindsay and Dre don't get along. Not Lindsay. Tori and Lindsay. Tori and Dre do not get along, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So why not just throw Tori's name out there? And then you can still vote for Dre if you wanted to. To get the idol. I mean, they both have idol.
He didn't play it right the way he was trying to sell his point, and
he didn't think it all the way through.
No, he definitely didn't. And this was not his best night, between seeing that and Lindsay being like, well, actually, and him being like, oh yeah, duh. But
He
still
goes,
not.
I like when she's like, I know them better than you do. Like,
yeah,
listen
like
to
I
me.
talk
he
to
goes,
them.
they can't be trusted. He goes, I know that, because I think now he's kind of just branched off. He was branching off with the All Guys Alliance, and he forgot that you still have to make.
You still have to play with other people.
Exactly, and it was his worst, by far his worst night as Spider player. I mean, he could still rebound from it, but
he
hurt himself.
And I have to say something about Lindsay too. She needs to be getting more credit, because in most of these physical challenges, she has been right alongside Jonathan. She's doing fancy dives the same time he's doing fancy dives. She hung on that platform today like he wasn't long for the game at that point. I mean, he was going to go down. It was just between the two of them. She just deserves so much more credit than she's getting.
Makes me wonder if she's that last person voted out before the finale at 7, or that number 6 vote. You know, that person that just gets kind of screwed edit wise, because they're not like in the exciting
was this the first time we've really seen her talk strategy and make sense? I mean, I'm sure she's done it. They just haven't shown it.
Sure.
But I was the whole time I go, Jonathan, shut up. Shut up, Jonathan. Stop talking, Jonathan. I know shut up's a bad word. Stop talking, Jonathan. Stop talking.
No. During tribal council too, like Tori and Lindsay came off so much better than he did. Like, shut up and listen. That's what whole point. That's all they are asking you to do, is to listen and learn.
He thought I get kind of what he was thinking. I'm not racist, but at this point, you just got to stop talking.
Yes.
Listen to what they're saying. Give them a hug. Right. Saying, I'm with you, like he did.
And honestly, I think it was one of the best conversations in regards to the subject matter and the emotional baggage to this part of the social game.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the best conversations that the show has had, because Jonathan saying what he wasn't coming from any place of disrespect
of that, right?
Right.
Like, they weren't. But he represented that microcosm, that not even microcosm, that huge faction of society that just is so uncomfortable with the topic that they just automatically assume that someone's talking about them when they're not.
And they don't and they don't want to be. They don't want to be seen in a way that they don't believe. Like, they may not know how to express that, or like know every the best avenue to work through that every time. But it wasn't just him popping in with his concern. It was how it was approached on both sides. Like, and Jeff just sat out with his slick back rain hair.
Oh my God, that is ridiculous. He looked like a freaking Guido. I was just
it was so bad. My son's like, what's next? A ponytail?
He might have had one. We can't see the
He might have had one.
Yes. Yeah. So it was for whatever purpose, any other time that we've had this conversation in the show, whether they allowed us to see the entire thing this time, or we just had people that could articulate their emotion in it in such a clear fashion. Like, there was no real battle. It was just like honesty and like, I'm going to do A, because if I don't do A, B and C is going to happen. And then everyone else just being witness to that and realizing they're right. I just thought it was good. It was.
And plus, Jonathan had no hand in sending Roxroy home.
No.
I mean, if you look at the 5 people that were on that tribe, it was really what am I trying to say here? It was the melting pot of right, America. It was it was
the representational of America.
Right. It was like, okay, but I think Jonathan, like you said, when you're not racist and you just kind of everyone's, I'm for everyone. I think he took it personal when he should. Again, you just gotta sit back and
that kind of also the whole point of what they were talking about was, you may not think that you're racist, but everyone has implicit biases, because that is a society that we live in. And they were trying to explain that they weren't saying he was racist. And it was also sort of silly that at the end, Jeff was like, Jonathan, does that make sense? He's like, yes, I'm happy to hear they didn't think it was my fault. Like, oh my God, dude, did you not listen and learn anything? Like, that's not the right answer. But
that's
again,
Alabama. That's the Alabama.
That's the Alabama.
Mr. Jeff. Is that where he's from, Alabama?
I think so.
Well, he has ties to Alabama.
Yes.
He has work experience in Alabama. Yes. But again, I think that these are the kinds of conversations that make people uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because they don't want to have to confront that they may or may not, like, whether they realize it or not, be participating in something that makes life a reality for people that is not a reality that they have to live with. And it makes people who don't go through that uncomfortable, likely because, they don't want to have to be accomplices to that, whether or not intentionally or unintentionally. And I think the more attention that's brought to that in these conversations, people seeing real people like a 20-year-old Marianne and however old Drea is, like, having these conversations, like, oh, if you sit back and listen and can just kind of hear their perspective, you can understand, like, oh, okay, like, this is just something I can be more aware of in the future. And that's it's nice to see this without Jeff butting in with his big stupid comments and leading questions.
I think Jeff did the right thing. He didn't speak. He let them talk. And I think even Lindsay and Tori, like one of you mentioned that even they listened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just, Jonathan just got caught up in
Tori, of all people, Tori.
Yeah.
Tori had the best response at like, she had a great response, like, and I'm sure that her therapy training and, courses and experiences that she's had to come into contact with as a part of her training probably, has helped her be more aware. Like, just because she has a personality that we don't tend to we don't like, we think it's fun to dislike, to hate on, doesn't mean that she doesn't have an understanding of racial struggles in America.
Yes, and it doesn't mean that she doesn't have some skills in mediation. She can very easily sit and listen to both sides, as she proved when she was like, cool, why me?
And Dre goes, you've been getting me from that. That's not true, but that's okay. Jonathan, you lied to me. Yes.
Like, okay, you got me there. I did lie.
Well, Mike put in there. I thought the same thing. I thought she was going to get the shot in the dark and live.
Oh, I thought she was too.
I said they're setting this up so the shot in the dark finally works, and someone who shouldn't have gone home, went home. But I want to say this about Marianne. I think she was the most coherent.
Yes.
She's ever been on the show. I'm not trying to make fun of her, but she gets so hyper, but she was on point.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I was like going, wow. Because even Dre did, okay, yeah, we agree. We're on the same page. Because remember, it was 2 weeks ago when she was like going, no, that's not what I was saying. No, we're not. No, that's not what we're saying. No.
Oh my God, no.
Well, and Marianne seems to be like, when Marianne wants to be somebody for, like, if she wants to, like, portray herself as a certain way in order to get a certain point of view across, it's like that's when she gets really, like, scattered and hyper and kind of silly, and you can see the nerves working. But when the woman talks about things that she's really experienced, that she truly feels and believes, it's like she just calms way down, comes back down to everyone else's level, and can have a real conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And she's a seminary student, right? I wonder if that's part of her training, or maybe, this was very important to her. And as I think, as Drea and Marianne pointed out, and Shan pointed out last season, and Deshawn pointed out, like, there is, especially in a post BLM era of Survivor, there is a pressure that they feel people of color feel going on the show to, bring that representation up and play well. And it was even brought up that Omar is the first Muslim to make it to the merge, which I had no idea. That's a nice.
I didn't know that. Was that brought up today?
Yeah. I believe Drea may have brought it up when she was talking at Tribal. When she was talking about representation, she goes, and even Omar shared with me that he's the first Muslim to make it to the merge. So she said, so that's huge for him and people of his faith. But and I know Shan talked about it last season too, just the weight that people of color feel going on the show. Whereas I think Marianne had a great line tonight that was really, very eloquently said, 1 in 18 may be bigger or smaller for some people.
Yeah.
Yep. And we had this whole conversation that took place during Tribal, and I think if that conversation hadn't gone the way it had, maybe we would have been talking a little bit more about the fact that Roxroy is like, hey, we need to create an all guys alliance because that doesn't happen.
Oh my god. Jay looks at me and he goes, wait, don't the guys do alliances like all the time?
The guys usually stick together
every year.
Yeah. I was like going, I pretty much, like you say, every season there is usually a guy alliance.
And it
usually it's a girls alliance that breaks up because
there's usually one that goes the other direction on things. But every Survivor, certainly every single season of Survivor, nearly every season of Big Brother, there's one dude that's like, the girls are going to start picking us off one after another. We've got to bond together. We've got to make a tight alliance because look at those girls. They just get so paranoid that the girls are coming after them. And meanwhile, the girls aren't even making eye contact with that side of the room because they got cooler things to talk about. It just cracks me up.
Survivors evolved from where the challenges were mostly physical challenges.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
To make it puzzles and balancing stuff. They've done a great job of making it fair.
Yeah.
Because before, the strongest, most athletic, they would make a run. It's not that way anymore.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to say, "Oh, I gotta have an all guy alliance," because the women are going to pick us off one. But no, you need the women. Number one, if you want to further your game, you have to include everybody.
Well, it was a great example with Lindsay tonight, right? Because Jonathan overlooked the fact that Lindsay might actually know more than he knows about personality types and how someone's going to react.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was Gordon Holmes on Twitter who pointed out, if this was a 1 through 10 season, Roxroy would be easily a winner contender because he's playing a old school, early Survivor game the way that he's playing.
Right.
Yep.
So,
but you have to have the social aspect. You have to now.
Right.
Because if you don't, because if you don't, you're just.
Yeah. Because it's more forgiven to not have the physical aspect once you make the merge. But it's less forgiven to not have a good social game.
Well, there's two things that we know that have, even though the show has changed dramatically over the years, there's two things that still stand true. And one is, more often than not, the most physical person is going to be a target at merge, maybe right before merge on. Also, the most social player can do fine in the game, but the second somebody, if they get paranoid, the second somebody gets paranoid, and it's always a social player who gets paranoid. It's never the physical comp beast that gets paranoid because they go, well, I'll just win an immunity. So the ones that usually tend to get paranoid is a social player. Those two, no matter how many times we've shuffled this game, changed what the challenges are and the puzzles and how many days we're out there and how many monsters we put on the island, you've got one comp beast that's going to be a target and you've got one paranoid player that's going to be a target. At some point, I would love a season where those two people realize they're that people and come together and form an alliance.
Who would be this
I'm the paranoid person. I've got to go after the comp beast. We've got to partner up.
Well, Romeo's the most paranoid, right?
Yeah,
well,
Romeo would be
High's pretty paranoid too. He's just
a little edgy. He's a little bit edgy.
I mean,
High is
it used to be in the past. If someone voted for you, you go, okay, whatever. I didn't go home. Now it's like, who voted for me? I must find out.
Yeah, like High is like super drama queen.
He knew. He just I go, let it go.
Yep.
Because now you're coming across as the a-hole.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I think without Roxroy being everyone's number one, like most annoyed person, I think that leaves a lot less room for High to hide.
Yeah, and
I think High thinks he's playing the game that Omar is playing, and High is not playing the game that Omar is playing.
Unfortunately, even though I adore him and he's just like little hottie High, he is playing a Tory game. Like he's now that Tory is gone, he is stepping in to be the
queen role.
Right. Yeah. Like
and if Omar wants him gone, he'll be gone next week.
Right.
Yeah. King Omar over there calling all the shots.
Isn't it kind of fun how on the Omar and Tori, Roxroy and Tori went out the same week and they hated each other so much?
Yeah. I can't wait to see that Ponderosa video.
I know, right? Oh man.
I don't think we are getting Ponderosa this year, guys. Ponderosa is axed for this season.
I heard that there were no videos, which makes me so sad.
There is a lot of talk of why there has been no certain terms written out with CBS, but some of it is gossipy, some of it has to do with past players from last season, and some of it is no, it's a COVID thing. So we don't know for sure.
They can't film it because it's a COVID thing.
The COVID thing. They're together.
Well, somebody in. Okay, I'll just give you the dirt that I've heard.
Are we talking about the rumor of the two people that allegedly had relations pre-merge?
No, not that. That one's fun too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But one. There was
supposedly Lydia and Zach hooked up, and by hooked up I mean did it.
So. Did that stuff.
Lydia and Zach. Oh, okay.
But this other alleged situation had something to do with Shan and saying that one of the staff members with CBS was acting inappropriately.
Oh, I know.
I mean, but again, that is just rumor. And she went on Twitter 2 days ago and quoted somebody who had said something about it. And she's like, once again, I'm enemy number one, have at it.
Was she denying it or she?
Yeah, she was denying it.
Okay.
So I don't know. We don't know. But there was somebody, I guess, last season, somebody did test positive, not one of the cast members, but somebody who's working, one of the staff members for Ponderosa. And so they did send people home or some, I don't know.
But what are they?
Or it might have been this season.
I thought they all had to be vaccinated before they left.
It might have been this season that a staff member with Ponderosa had COVID. And so they had to take the group at Ponderosa and send them home. I don't know. Again, see, there's so many.
Where are they staying at?
I don't know because they're showing up to tribal. So I'm not
because I know
sure
that
if they have a hotel.
I know in the past when the people didn't win, the people that didn't get on the jury, they would travel somewhere. Right. I know that's tough now. Where can you go?
Yeah.
Right.
But we know the people on the jury, they sequestered on Ponderosa. So you couldn't have one camera person there to film what's going on.
Oh man.
I think
I'm pretty bummed out about the whole thing.
Or you do it like Big Brother, where you just have cameras all over the place and there's nobody there.
Yep.
Right. I would love to see a replay, but in reverse of that famous Cass Savage video where they're both drunk
Yes.
And they hate each other before, and I believe they hate each other after. But in the moment of that video, they love each other.
Because they're strong personalities.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I would love to see Lindsay and Roxroy.
I think that maybe I think that maybe out of the game they probably get along. I mean, they weren't. They didn't. There wasn't like daggers they didn't really talk bad about each other.
It's a lot easier to get along with somebody if you can walk away from them.
Yeah. You know? And Tori, I would imagine, is the kind of person that either complains nonstop about how it was so unfair the way that she got voted off and doesn't read the room, or is, gets there and is like, totally cool and changes her attitude and is like, oh, well, I'm kind of pissed that I got voted out. But
the way
she was talking about God making mistakes. So I have an inkling which way she'd go.
Well, no one wants to get voted. I thought Roxroy handled it very well. I mean, he was like,
yeah, but he was funny when he was like, goes to Chanel. He was like, "Hi, and Romeo set this up. I hope they both freeze."
Well, he was right.
Yeah,
but technically it was.
It wasn't. It was Omar and Romeo.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, Tribal, the music going into Tribal. Why were we getting like the death march? Like, it was really ghost shippy. I don't know. It was very different than what I'm used to.
Well, what was anyone else going? Okay, it's 8:30. Okay, they're already going to Tribal. It's 8:30. I go, okay, what's gonna what kind of twist is gonna happen here that we're not expecting?
Yeah.
And then when Dre started talking, I said, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, there it is. I go, now I got it. But I was before I was like,
have us a conversation. We're gonna have us to sit down. It did make it pretty exciting though when they were like, "Yep, we're just gonna go toss our idols up there, and we're gonna talk this out." It's like,
I wish Marianne would have kept hers, but
yeah,
well, I understand why she did it. But I wish she would have kept it.
I wish she would still have it for her game, but
because I'd be cool if she won.
I think it was so important though that she was like, "You know what? I'm gonna play it, because if I don't play it, somebody somewhere." Is going to use this as an excuse. And it was like, oh, I hate that you're right. But like, you're right. You know?
Yeah.
Is Survivor Suck still around?
I don't know.
I don't know, actually.
Because I guarantee you on that thing, they would.
Oh, yeah. What, the Reddit of Survivor? That's not Reddit?
Yes. I have been on there like 3 or 4 years, but that used to be the most. That was the ugliest place to go. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Let me see if that's still around.
And if you're a Survivor Sucks person, I'm not calling you out. Look, I'm not calling anyone out on that. Okay. Hey.
No,
that's my best Jonathan impression.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. It looks like it is still around, but it has a different host, really? Server. So, but yeah, no, it's still around. The Lions and Tigers Survivors Oma. Yeah, the main discussion boards are still here. So
because that was when I first found that was when many years ago, back in 2000. What was the second year of
2001?
2005.
Oh, Lost 2005.
Somebody was posting each week who was going home, and each week they were right. Woo. And it was like bam, 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 bam. I said, how do they know this? Well, Jorge from Lost said there was a spy at the hotel, and he was sending messages back to somebody who was being voted out because they were never wrong. Never.
About who was going home on Lost?
No, who was going? Because no,
on
there were 6 of it. On
You're
Survivor,
gonna die. You're gonna die. You've been dead the whole time.
Jorge somehow knew the information.
So there was like a leak, like a production leak.
Right. There's someone that was and so I kept going because I don't like to be spoiled, but I was like going, okay, now I have to keep going to see if they're right. I go, damn, they're right. Damn, they're right. I said, this is, obviously up until the end, they didn't know who the winner was going to be, but anyway.
Couldn't get into those buckets and count those names.
No.
Anyway. No, I think overall I think for an episode that, otherwise would have been probably fairly straightforward. I think that it was a very important and interesting discussion to have in the last 15 minutes of Tribal.
I was wondering if Roxroy isn't there, if he's not sitting on the jury at this point, does Dre play her idol?
I think she was going to anyway, or she was contemplating it.
I think she was going to, because she said, I had a I knew it was going to be me either way.
Right.
I knew
I think it cemented it where she saw that and she goes, "Oh no!" What? And Marianne
would Marianne have played her? Would Marianne had played her idol?
I don't know. I get the vibe she probably wouldn't, but I think it probably would have been game time decision.
I think Tori would have gone home no matter what, because what were the options? Because again, when Lindsay was saying you want to keep you're saying you want to keep us 4 strong, and you're saying we're going to vote her out. That doesn't make sense. Again, Lindsay had one of the best. She had the best strategic night.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because she was spot on.
Yeah, and I'm definitely more team Lindsay than I thought I was going to be. Andrea too, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we had some people pull from the back and kind of walk up towards the front and.
Plus, Drea still has her power too. She still has.
She's got a clutch of. She's got so many different.
Her playing her idol was nothing because it was like a rich person buying a social media company. They still have $1 million. It's more pull from that. Well,
yeah,
I did buy Twitter. Is that what you're talking about? Me?
I'm so glad somebody did.
Oh boy, that was exactly what Twitter needed.
I had $45 billion laying around. I said,
we needed that so much.
I was going to buy I was going to buy the Chargers and move them back to San Diego, build my own stadium. I said, you know what?
Right, you were Chargers, $6 billion to.
You know what? If I buy Twitter,
whatever it was, World Health to help hunger.
No, screw that. No, if I buy Twitter, I get my account back.
Oh, there you go.
That's why I bought it. I buy Twitter, I get my account back.
Right.
So that's why I said, as much as I want San Diego to have that football team.
Yeah, he might rescind it too because Tesla's stock dropped so much.
A little bit.
He doesn't have the. Anyway, dark billionaires, as Christy says in the chat. So we are joined live as we are. We generally record about 15.
Christy, don't be hating on me. Don't be hating.
And Mike says, Miami Mike says, Rockstar would be the perfect for Survivor Amazon, but that was 19 years ago. Exactly. He also says we won't get a chance to see Rockstar, Tori, and Chanel coming up with a song like the Survivor 41 cast. That was an outstanding Ponderosa video. Have you seen that, Jack?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love that. That is great. He also said.
We said about Roxroy, not working with people, but we saw that he knows how to build a shelter, and they should have just stopped talking and listened to him. They would have been better off. Yeah. So sometimes you can be annoying but when you know what you're talking about, I know it's that fine line where you're wrong. Right. You're not doing okay. Just do what I want you to do, and we'll have a great shelter. You'll get some rest, but you can't do that in a social game because people are going to get pissed off because their egos.
Literally the conversation I have with my 11-year-old, every day, just do what I tell you to do, and we will all get along great.
Right, don't let the dude that can make the fire get anywhere close to the final 4, but at least let him keep you sheltered.
But like I said, if someone knows how to build a shelter, I go, yeah, because that to me is the most important, one of the most important things. It's the shelter.
Yeah,
they're not freezing.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Mike also says Russell Hantz was notorious for spoiling his seasons. Yes, I believe that. I have heard that rumor.
Well, he's
notorious.
Yeah. Yes. Even though I thought he should have won, he's still a tool.
Right.
Oh yeah. Christy also says, I do hate that their hands were forced to play their idols. I know. And I hope that anybody else that feels that way can take an understanding of why they felt that way and maybe take that forward with them in their real life. I think that is probably what they were hoping for as well.
I don't have an idol in real life.
Let's see. All right, let's tally. Oh, do we want to tally votes or want to get feedback? Let's do some feedback. We have 2 emails. The first one is from David Gott. And he says, this is from a couple of days ago. Great podcast. Great podcast so far this season. Sadly, the same cannot be said about season 42. The show is now a complete mess. It's all about Jeff and the increasingly silly twists. We've had a tribal council where only 2 of the 6, or was it 5, contestants could vote as a result of yet more inane twists. Now we have a player that is in possession of 4 advantages. Last season, a player won that, based on the edit, would not seem to have had a chance. The players on 42 are, with one exception, laughably physically weak. What is the matter with the show? Is that really such a bad thing to have physically weak people? I'm just saying.
I would like to just chime in 2 people who are certainly not physically weak, because I am rooting for Lindsay here.
Yeah. In my opinion, Survivor has jumped the shark. Do we really need to be lectured by Jeff on how vexed he will be if the advantage is not found? Do the players require his lecturing future deals with him may not occur? Can he shut up about the monster? Seriously, WTF is with this show. We need far less Jeff, far less gimmicks, far more gameplay. I'm happy Tori keeps winning, if only because it seems to annoy the Survivor fans on social media and Jamie Joe.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I kind of agree with Gott here, because I've been saying pretty much the same thing, because I just, there's just too much. Like I said, unless you have it written down, can you remember everything that Drea has, or everything? People, I can't. It's like, okay, that's right. They have this, they have that. There's too much in the game, and the producers of the game worked best in the beginning. I realize they have to change it up. I have no problem with them changing it up, but it's like today, we're going to split the tribes up, and 2 people are going home. So somebody that like Roxroy, who was safe because they put this twist in here, he went home.
Yep.
I mean, I get it, but it was no fault of it. Was it any fault of his own?
No, not really. No, like, because we said he would have been safe had they not been split. He would have been safe. But
haven't they been doing that for a while?
They've had some version of that same.
And I didn't like that. I don't like it when they do it at all.
I don't know. You guys sound like you all belong 20 years ago with Roxroy.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying, like I said, I think like the idol, there should be, you can find an idol, but you can also find something that it's you lose your vote, forever. Then the key to the game is, okay, now I need to pawn this off on somebody else.
Right.
Make the players play the game. It's
like a hot potato anti-idol.
Exactly. Yeah. You can find, like I said, if I know, and you tell them ahead of time, okay, there's going to be, you can find an idol, but there's also a punishment idol out there. So do you go out there and look for it? I mean, if you know this ahead of time, you go, okay.
Aren't those what they're supposed to be? Is kind of like the, bad idols, because they're not just easy to find it and hide it. Like, you're risking everybody finding out that you have one.
Yeah, but it's just like, are they that hard to find?
I think that when we are constantly being told, like straight up told, just making eye contact with the camera, that this is a monster game, that this is harder, it's faster. When it's going to be harder, then let's drop it back down to 2 idols. 1 here, 1 there. And then that's it. Like, you don't have something that's going to save you in the 9th hour. Like, you're not going to have something that somebody has a disadvantage, and so they, like, it benefits you because of an accident. Like, let's just make it so that there's 2 idols, and then, like, limited amount of food, shorter time. Now, like, go for it.
I like the shorter time.
Yes, but I feel like if they're going to do the shorter time, maybe a quarter of it or less should have anything to do with advantages. I feel like the shorter time doesn't allow us all of these advantages. It just gets swampy, and so the things don't get it's not as exciting, because you don't have that one thing you're waiting to pan out. It's just one thing after another after another.
I was waiting for Drea to say, "Hey, Marianne, do you have an idol?" Oh, thank you. I'm going to play my idol.
Oh my God.
Now that would have been cool.
That would have been
Oh
pretty
my
GA.
God.
And you know what? Maybe she would have done something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, well, no,
Right.
actually, she could just still do it to Mike. She could go up to Mike and be like, "Hey, Mike, got an idol?"
Yeah.
And bam.
Yeah, totally could. Yeah, the game, and like you said, the game changes. It's got to change. It has to evolve. It's been around for a long time. I mean,
everything has to change, but they're making it too convoluted.
We have contestants now. We have people on the game that weren't born when the game started.
That
So
is insanity to
been
me.
around. It's
Crazy.
gonna evolve.
Dumb kids.
No, I agree. I think Gott's being a little too much man yells at clouds, but I also think that he spent a lot of time and hours and energy watching Australian Survivor, which apparently is once you go Australian, you never go back.
It's a very different. It's really a different energy. It does make you homesick for some of the old gameplay. That being said, there are not a lot, but there are things from Australia that I'm like, oh, we don't really get that thing that we get in the US, and I'm kind of missing that. But the biggest advantage of the entire thing is the fact that they get so much airtime. Like, you get to know every single person on it, and I think when we have a shorter game in the US, we just miss out on that. So a lot of these idols seem sloppy, and it doesn't seem right, and because we're not actually getting to see the path that these advantages and disadvantages are taking.
Yeah. All right. Our next email is from Mandy, and she says,
Mandy,
dang, Marianne is amazing. She may be a goofy character, but she's proving she's more than that. After that speech, she is showing she can give someone a run for their money at a final tribal. If there ever was a time I wanted a shot in the dark to be safe, it was this tribal. Oh, what could have been a dramatic end. You know, okay, I agree. I like Lindsay, and obviously I'm not the biggest Tori fan, but I was kind of hoping that it was also safe because it would have been great drama.
Yes, it would have.
Yeah, but you know,
I thought for sure.
I'm like I'm super okay with it on one hand, but on the other hand, the drama's lacking, and like some of the people that I like are going to be targets now.
Now, do you think if Marianne would have hurt herself today, if the full tribe, if all the players were there, because she made such, I mean, she wasn't, saying was that thing she had to keep saying every week about the rabbit, or she came across as goofy a lot,
right?
But when she was she came, I'd be like, oh my God, she could win this game.
Yeah.
Whereas before people, because before people are going, all right, she's just too out there. She can't win this game. She's too emotional. Just all this different stuff. But when she was making her case and you're telling not make her case, but saying what she how she felt, I was like, wow, she could win this game.
Yeah.
So she could. It might have hurt her. I mean, I understand why she was saying it, but it might hurt her also.
I think as far as power rankings go, we saw Marianne and Drea go up in stock tonight.
Definitely.
And Omar. But I feel like Omar
I've always had Drea up there. I thought she's been a good player from.
I think she was fairly quiet, good player, but like as far as power rankings go, I think we saw she and Marianne rise. I think we saw Jonathan and Hai and Mike sort of go down a bit. Mike just by association, because he does not seem adaptable, and I think he's going to have a hard time, being fluid in between alliances.
This will probably cost him some sleep too, because he doesn't seem like the type of person. I mean, he was already saying
comfortable.
He wasn't. He's already said he has having trouble sleeping. So this, for someone like him, his word is his bond in a game that you have to kind of lie, but still. Again, he didn't want to vote Roxroy out.
Do you think Marianne is in any more danger based on who actually was there with her when they heard her? Because there's like a whole other side of this tribe that didn't hear her.
That's what I'm saying. I think
because it's Lindsay and Jonathan and Drea.
Right.
Like, are they going to be people that would know, you know what, we need to look out for her? Or are they like, I knew you had it in you, kid? Like, where did they stand, you think?
I think she's like for the first time, probably people are looking at her like she could win the game.
Or at the very least, respect.
Yeah, and she go, but it did help her because, you had Chanel and Roxroy there. It would help her with the jury vote.
That's true. Yes.
But again, as a player, I don't think people, it's like what Jonathan was saying. I would just throw your name out there because he's basically telling you can't win anyway, so it doesn't matter. There's another mistake by Jonathan tonight. So I think Marianne helped herself, but I think she also might have hurt herself.
Well, and we'll find out. Let's do the tally the vote. I do agree. Let's tally up the vote. So
I don't think I had anything.
You didn't get anything? Do you ever?
I can't remember, but I.
But
I'm sure I didn't. No.
I'm like, but ... All right. So we have. Am I sharing my screen correctly? Finally.
It looks like I'm watching Survivor. It's buffering.
Sweet. Awesome. All right. Well, in the meantime, I will take out Tori. Jay had merge. Jack had final 3. I had merge. Jamie had merge. So Jack didn't get it.
Way to go, Tori.
Weird. Hey, it's not her fault. This is on God.
Yeah, this is on God. God hates me too.
He's after you.
God. So Jamie and I get points for that. And then Roy went out. Jay had him as merge. Jack had him as merge. Jamie and I. Oh, wait, hold on. Roxroy. Yeah. I'm sorry. I had him as final 3, and Jamie had him pre-merge. He was also my winner's pick, wasn't he?
I think he might have been.
I know. Oh. Okay, so I get a new winner's pick. Okay, so Jack gets a. Okay, so Jamie and I get points for Lydia. And for Lydia, jeez Louise.
Lydia. She came back in the game.
She's back.
Zach said, okay, you can come back in the game.
Jamie gets a point for Lydia. Jack gets a... Jesus, I said it again. Jamie gets a point for Tori. Jack gets a point for
teach you for taking a shower.
And I get a point for whoever the chick was, Tori. All right.
So now I have a point. I have a point, right?
You have a whole point. As far as who we thought was getting voted out, Romeo and Tori. Tori went out first, so Jamie, you get one. Do you get a point for her? Yes. Didn't I say? What did I say the rules were? You get points if they get voted out, but you'll get 3 points.
3 points if it's in order, right?
The right order. Okay. So Jamie, you get 1 point. I get 1 point. Jack gets no point.
Who did I have?
You had Romeo and Mike.
Oh, you were close, sort of, not, but almost.
Well, I thought Mike, they would try and I don't know.
I had a note that I wanted to pick. Should I have? No, I shouldn't have. Let's see. All right. Who do we think is going home next episode?
Well, I've been on fire, so I should go first.
All right. Am I first? You go ahead. Go first. Do it.
I'm going to go high. We're going to get
high. Okay.
High. Do you hear me?
I know. After watching the preview, yeah. That was last week though. I kind of agree with you because the preview for next week, it's so misleading though. But who else could it be based on who they're talking about, right? Jamie, are you gonna also go with high, or are you going to buck the trend and think for yourself?
It seems like high would make sense based off of a few things, but I am going to shoot for the fences, and I am actually going to hope that I'm wrong, but I think that these two ladies are talking about Omar.
Oh.
I hope not, though. I don't want high or Omar to go, but
At first, that's what I thought.
A point's a point, you know.
But again, I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
If it gets out that Omar is pulling, if he's, the man behind the curtain, then he would go home.
Yeah. Oh, but nobody's even talking about him yet. All right, my new winner's pick. I feel like, ooh. Hello, am I still here? I just ripped my headphones out of. Okay.
Everything's still in here. We're good.
Oh, good. All right. I kind of, part of me wants to pick a woman and maybe go with Drea, because I think she's got a great shot. But Omar is just doing so well that I'll go with Omar.
Yeah, good. Someone's got to save him from my point hacking, I wouldn't be so sad if he makes it to the end. I like that guy. He's fun. Yeah, he's fun TV.
If Omar does go out,
he's good. He's a good player.
If he's not going to go to the end, I hope he goes out next week so I can just pick a different winner.
You could still get a good winner pick. Let's just message him. Could you just, if you're going to not win, could you just not win next week, please?
Yeah, please just go out next week so I don't lose further points the further deeper we get into this season. All right, so just to recap, Jamie has 8 points. Jack has 1. I have 7. Winner's pick. Jamie still has High. Jack still has Romeo, and I have switched to Omar.
Oh, is that my winner's pick?
Yeah. He.
Oh my God.
Yeah. All right, and then switching back over to the chat. Let's see. Mike thinks that it could be Jonathan that is going home.
Could be.
Yep.
If he no longer has Lindsay on his side.
I think it's safe to say that there's a good chance it will be a he.
Right.
I think it's a he. It's time for a he.
It could be Mike, though. Oh, it could be Mike.
It could be.
Because if Mike's driving,
a little bit sad for him. Oh, yeah.
It would make me sad, but I think there's a good chance it could be Mike, because Mike, if he is too paranoid and he takes the Romeo place of being super paranoid because he cannot adapt to the fact that his word, then I think that we have a very good chance that we are looking. I kind of want to change my thing so that way we all have 3 different ones. Would you guys be cool if I did that, or are we?
I don't care.
I don't care.
Okay, I will.
Of course, Mike winning, would he be the first one over 100 to win?
Oh my God, that was so ridiculous.
Romeo's not nice. He's nasty.
He's mad. He's just so cranky. He's little, and it's cold, and he's starving.
Everyone's just so dumb. All right, so next week we all have 3 different people going home, which does make for an exciting points game. Because it means one or none of us are getting points.
One or
I
none.
hope it's you, Jack.
I'm rooting for you, buddy.
The comeback.
Oh my goodness. Okay. On that note, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you
except Miami Mike.
Except for Miami Mike. Thanks to everybody that joined us in the chat. Or watched us on the YouTubes. You can go to the Jay and Jack YouTube channel, the one with the red logo on it, and you'll be notified when we start each week. We love when people join us. We love to hear what people have to say. If you want to send us an email, survivorjjc@gmail.com. Once again, that's survivorjjc@gmail.com. It's I think we're getting into an interesting part of the season because that big group is finally starting to splinter. So should be fun. Thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute at a certain level, and that would be Eckhart Rigner, Tack from Tokyo, Maggie the Magnificent, Joanne with a Plan, and Ed the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. And I'm going to say it once again for the Shandies in the back, Ed the Creepy Poopy Head Mailman. She loves it so much. All right. On that note, everyone, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. My name is Colleen.
I'm Jamie.
I'm sorry I said that as soon as you started drinking.
It's fine.
She's been drinking the whole show, hasn't she?
I didn't drown. It's okay.
And that's Jack. I think I talked over him. Sorry. I do that a lot.
It's okay.
All right. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.